I'm holding is about $80, and I'm going to read you the chapter of on page 35. It's all in the timing and the spacing. Amit Grimm-Natwick, born Myron Nordvig, in a Hollywood basement when he was in his 80s. Grimm was the oldest of the great animators, being already in his 40s when the animated 83 scenes of Snow White in Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Previously, he designed Betty Boop and Max Fleischer, for which he received nothing and was furious about it till the day he died, aged 100. I will never forget the image of this big Norwegian American sitting in the golden twilight, extending his arms and spatula hands, saying, animation, it's in the timing and in the spacing. Strange that the Americans were the ones to work this out. The bouncing ball says it all. The bouncing ball example is often used because it shows so many different aspects of animation. The ball bouncing along, and where it hits the boings, that's the timing. The impacts where the ball is hitting the ground, that's the timing of the action. The rhythm of where things happen, where the accents, or beats, or hits happen. And here's the spacing. So the first one is timing, and the second one is spacing. The ball overlaps itself when it's at the slow part of its arc, but when it drops fast, it's spaced further apart. That's the spacing. The spacing is how close or far apart those clusters are. That's it. It's simple, but it's important. The spacing is the tricky part. Good animation spacing is a rare commodity. So we have the spacing and the timing. Boink, boink. The two basic elements of animation. To experience this, take a coin and flip it in stages under a video camera. Pretty much if you're going to animate that, it would look like that. Because the more spacing it out, the faster it is, and the more and the timing together, like the frames, the faster it is. First, plot out the timing, where you want to hit the ball to the ground. Then push the coin around, taking a picture at each frame, and see what looks right or wrong. Try it with different timings and spacing. You are already animating. You are already dealing with the important fundamentals, and you have not even made a single drawing. You're doing pure animation without any drawings. Hidden in this simple test is the height of the ball, how it feels, light or heavy, what it's made of, is it large or small, moving fast or slow. This will all emerge if you do several tests, which only take a few minutes to do. The importance of the timing and the spacing will become obvious. Because you did it, a certain amount of personality will creep into the action. Whether the ball is deliberate, slow, jaunty, erratic, cautious, even optimistic or pessimistic. And all this before you've made a single drawing. This reveals how important and dominant the timing and spacing is. Even the ball position were drawn in detail by Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci. The timing and the spacing of the drawings will still dominate. Another interesting way to experience the difference between timing and spacing right away is this. Let's put a coin under the video camera and move it across the page or screen in 1 second, 24 frames of screen time. That's our time. We will space it out evenly, and that's our spacing. Now we will keep the same timing. Again, taking 1 second for the coin to move across the page, but we'll change the spacing by slowly easing out of position number 1 and easing gradually into position number 25. It still takes 1 second for the coin to get over there. It has the same timing, but there is a very different movement because of the different spacing. Both start together, and both hit the middle together, but the spacing is quite different, and so the action is very different. You could say that animation is the art of timing, but you could say that about all motion pictures. The most brilliant masters of timing were silent comedians Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Laurel, and Hardy. Certainly, for a film director, timing is the most important thing. For an animator, it's only half the battle. We need the spacing as well. We can have a natural feel for timing, but we have to learn the spacing of things. One other thing, the bouncing ball example is often used to show animation, squash and stretch. That is, the ball elongates as it falls, flattens on impact with the ground, and then returns to its normal shape in the lower part of its arc. It might squash and stretch this way if it was a very soft ball with not much air in it. But what I found is that you can get a good enough effect with a rigid coin, provided the spacing of it was right. So this added technique is not always necessary. Certainly, a hard golf ball isn't going to bend all over the place. In other words, if you do this squishy squashy thing too much, everything comes out a bit sloppy, like it's made of rubber. Life ain't like that. At least most of it ain't. More about this later. Having established all this, let's go to lesson